Hey everyone, today I am super excited to share with you the new Insta360 X5, and in this video we will be looking at everything that's new compared to the now older X4, including the 5 biggest improvements that I think make this camera even better and usable more of the time. And hopefully this will help you decide if it's worth upgrading or if you're considering buying the X5 to help you work out if this camera is for you. Now, if you are planning on picking it up or you want to find out more about the X5, then as usual, I've put a link in the description down below where you can do just that. So I actually took both of these cameras on a trip recently to Barcelona to use them side by side and film a bunch of real world comparisons so that you can see the similarities and differences between the two. But before taking a look at those, let's first start with a few of the smaller design differences I've noticed when you put the X5 next to the X4. So side by side, you can see they're basically the same size, and they also have the same screen size. The buttons also remain relatively unchanged, and in terms of weight, they're both exactly the same. Looking at the back, however, and you can see the X5 has this distinctive different pattern. And while I honestly think I prefer the grippy texture on the back of the X4, this new design does have improved heat dissipation, which helps prevent overheating, and this is only a good thing. Because if you have used the X4 in 8K mode, you will know it does get quite warm. Looking at the bottom now, and another good addition is that alongside the existing Q20 mount, the X5 is now compatible with Insta360's magnetic mounting options. And this is a great little upgrade, as it means if you're using a selfie stick, for example, you don't need to screw it on and off every time. You can just use the magnetic quick release mount to quickly and easily attach it. And because when you're using a selfie stick, it gets automatically removed from the video, it allows you to get these awesome floating camera style off shots. Other small design differences I noticed is that the USB-C port has now moved to the bottom right, which sounds trivial, but if you're using a mount such as the Peter McKinnon foldable 2-in-1 selfie stick, it means you can keep it attached while charging the X5, whereas with the X4, because it's on the other side, you do have to open it up to charge it. And actually, this is the mount I used most of the time with the X4, and now I'm using it with the X5, as I love that because it folds down, you never have to take it off. And it also has a built-in lens protector or cover so that you can just pop it on once folded down, and that cover also doubles as a wrist strap, which is ideal if you're using this camera around water and don't want to accidentally drop and lose it. Speaking of water, the X5 has an increased maximum waterproof depth of up to 15 meters without an additional accessory such as the dive case. This compared to the X4's max depth of 10 meters. Another small but welcome change is that the supplied lens guards now have these little notches at the bottom. Again, this sounds trivial, but this is very welcome, as with the older version, especially if you had fitted them too tightly, they could be a complete pain to try and remove, with it hard to get a good grip. Whereas with these new notches, it makes it super easy to remove them. And this leads me on to the first big improvement of the X5. It now has replaceable lenses, and honestly, this is such a big deal. One of the biggest drawbacks to using a 360 camera is that you need to be extra careful not to scratch or damage the lens, as any small mark becomes really obvious in the final video. Now, yes, while you can fit the lens guards to help prevent this, there are a range of situations where these are less than ideal, and actually it's recommended that you don't fit them. So firstly, in water or heavy rain, they do have a tendency to fog up, and in bright direct sunlight, they do show quite a bit of glare. So there was times where I would be using the older X4 without those lens guards fitted. And in those situations, if you did drop the camera, which I unfortunately did twice, the only way to fix that damaged lens was to send the entire camera back to Insta360, and this wasn't the fastest process. Now, however, because the lenses on the X4 are replaceable, if you do accidentally drop or damage them, you can pick up a replacement kit with all the tools necessary to replace the lens yourself. You can do it at home. There's no need to send it for repair. Now, the replacement process is straightforward, but I would say it does require a little patience and a clean environment, involving using a special supplied tool to remove the old lens, locating the new lens with a suction cup, and then securing it in place with the same tool again. After that, it's good as new. The lens itself is also now more durable, with a 100% improvement in drop resistance compared to the older X4. I find, again, if you're doing something near water like jet skiing or you're using it somewhere dusty, you often need to give the lens a wipe or clean as it can get completely covered. And in my experience, whenever you're doing those sorts of activities, you're not carrying a microfiber or a soft cloth with you, so you end up just wiping it on your t-shirt or shorts or whatever's available. So in those cases, it's good to know that doing this won't actually scratch or harm the lens. Now, the second big improvement of the X5 is the new 1/1.28 inch image sensor, which is 144% larger than the half-inch sensor on the X4. And while admittedly in good lighting, such as bright daylight, I struggle to see a big difference when doing side-by-side tests with the already excellent X4, it's in low light and nighttime that this new sensor really shines. Now, it's no secret that the low light performance of the X4, well, it left a lot to be desired. But with the new X5, you're getting a major upgrade, not only thanks to that new image sensor, but this little guy now has three AI processing chips inside of it, and that's up from just one on the X4. Two of them chips inside of here are dedicated specifically to improving low light image quality and reducing noise. So switching into the new pure video night mode, and the result is much better low light video from the X5. Just looking at this side-by-side comparison against the older model, and you can see the X5 footage is brighter, and it has more dynamic range, and it even has less noise. Now, with that being said, there are some smaller improvements when it comes to using the X5 for daytime recording, and that comes in the form of higher available frame rates when using the active HDR mode. With the X5, you can now use a higher 60 FPS compared to the X4's 30 FPS limit. But what exactly is active HDR mode for? What does it do? Well, if you're recording in really bright direct sunlight, or when the sun is directly behind you, you'll often find areas of your sky get blown out or appear all white as the camera struggles with the extreme contrast. Turning on this active HDR mode, however, and you will find less blown out highlights and smoother transitions between the really bright and really dark areas of the video. The only drawback to this mode, however, although not a huge one, is that it's only available up to 5.7K resolution, not the full 8K available on the X5. In terms of the full resolutions and frame rates available, aside from the active HDR mode we've just discussed, the X5 remains unchanged, allowing 8K up to 30 FPS, 5.7K up to 60 FPS, or if you want to slow your footage down, you can record at 4K up to 120 FPS. In terms of the other recording modes, both these cameras have the exact same modes, except with the X5 we get another new, and in my opinion very useful mode called InstaFrame. So one of the big benefits of 360 footage is the ability to reframe and animate your videos after capturing them. But this can also occasionally be a drawback. Let's say you've just captured something completely awesome and you want to share it straight away. Well, because you have to reframe the video, this is not something you can quickly and easily do. But this new mode fixes that. So if you switch to the new InstaFrame mode, the camera will automatically lock onto you as you record, so that once you're finished, you get a perfectly framed, instantly shareable video that requires no editing. And the best part is that alongside this video, the camera also stores the original 360 file as well. So if you do wish to reframe it later when you have more time, you can still do that. The only thing to be aware of is that using this mode, the instantly shareable video is only outputted at 1080p. But you can choose between an aspect ratio of 16:9 or 9:16, and the simultaneous 360 video has a limit of 5.7K plus. Now, before taking a look at the next big improvement, a cool little new feature I've noticed on this camera is something called Twist to Shoot. So with this turned on, all you have to do to start or stop a recording is rotate the camera back and forth, and this is super handy if you have it on the end of a selfie stick, for example, as you don't need to reach up and use the buttons on the camera itself. You just simply give the selfie stick a quick rotation and the recording will start. Super handy. Alright, let's now take a look at the batteries between the old and new model, and you will see the design is slightly different, so they're not interchangeable. You can't use X4 batteries on the X5, for example, or vice versa. And part of the reason for this design change change is that the new batteries have an increased 2,400 milliamp hours, offering a longer runtime of up to 185 minutes compared to the 135 minutes on the X4, so an additional 50 minutes of runtime. Although I would still recommend that you pick up a second additional battery just so that you can be confident you'll never run out of power when you're out using this camera. And once these batteries are flat, it's good to know that the X5 now charges much faster, getting to 80% charge in only 20 minutes, a whole 18 minutes faster than the X4. That's almost 50% faster. And it means if you just stick it on charge, by the time you make a coffee or review some of your footage, you're straight back in the game. Now, a difference I haven't pointed out yet, but the eagle-eyed among you might have noticed, is to the microphones. And the biggest change is this new steel mesh wind guard on the back. This, alongside an improved wind reduction algorithm, now allowing you to choose between strong and weak, means you will hear noticeably less wind noise when compared to the X4. And this is ideal if you're using this camera when you're doing something like road cycling or mountain biking. So this is what the audio sounds like using the internal microphones of the X4, riding a bike into a light breeze. Okay, so now we have switched over to the X5 with its built-in windshield, so you should be able to hear that there is less wind noise. So all in all, I have to say the X5 was, and still is, an excellent 360 camera. I've gotten some fantastic shots with it. But with that being said, the improvements that the X5 now brings, in my opinion, notably the replaceable lenses and the better low-light performance, definitely makes this new camera a worthwhile upgrade. Or if you're in the market for a 360 camera and you're trying to decide between the two, the X5 is the obvious choice. Again, if you would like to find out more about the X5 or pick it up, I've put a link in the description down below where you can do just that. And if you do pick it up, or you already own the X4 and you want to learn a few simple shots you can master with them, then I have a video showing you how to do 10 easy moves that are perfect for a travel vlog, for example. And you can watch that by clicking up here or by using the link in the description down below.